Hey everybody. So, Peanut the squirrel. Have you guys been watching this stuff? The squirrel guy, he gets seized by the state and euthanized. I noticed there's looks like hundreds of videos on YouTube about it now. Everybody is in an outrage about it. Everybody's so mad about the squirrel, and they're equating it to pets. They say they're going to take away your pets. Your pets. You know, they're playing on the dog owners' sympathies by doing that, because they're not coming after your dogs. They're not coming after your dogs at all. In fact, they're going to bring more and more dogs to your state via 501c3 tax shelter of jets, buses, airplanes, and trains, and allow those dogs to hurt you, kill your dogs that you already have, bark all night, put feces all over your state. They're not going to take away your dogs. They're going to bring you more dogs. This thing with the peanut squirrel, if you look back at a wide perspective of it, you know, being outraged and saying that you stand with the squirrel and all that kind of stuff, that's just what they want you to do. They want you to be outraged by it. You know, we're all stuck on the outrage cycle. And it's easy to use pets to get people outraged, because they're going to connect all this stuff to, like, John Wick, you know, the guy that went on a killing rampage over a dog. You know, which is funny because the John Wick movie, they had two pit bulls and one of them got so stressed out that it attacked a horse. And they're not going to tell you about that. But this to me shows the priorities and the policies, the politics, you know, that thing that everybody thinks that they don't need to talk about or look at. The policies of the state where that person lives with the squirrel, that's the real issue right here. Because in that state, they use a lot of their resources to bring in pit bulls from other states. Pit bulls that eventually kill the people there in that state. And every time there's a pit bull attack, every time there's a pack of stray dogs that puts a man in the hospital or kills a man, they just talk about, like, oh, we're going to investigate it. We captured 2 of the 10 stray dogs, and we're going to see if the owner wants to keep those dogs. And they use all of these state resources to supposedly investigate the dogs. You know, investigate. The animal control is going to look at what could have happened. Did the dog get triggered? Did the baby make too much noise? Did the neighbor's little dog bark too much, which made the other bigger dog get stressed? And that's why the big dog, you know, killed the neighbor's chickens and then attacked the owner when the owner tried to defend the chickens. Now the owner has a major artery problem. You know, they're going to do all this crazy investigation, and of course the investigation never goes anywhere. The dog maybe gets euthanized, or the dogs get put into a shelter to get refurbished and put back in the public and bite somebody else. You know, so they have the resources to get rid of these dangerous dogs. They have the mental capability to be smart and realize that these dogs are hurting their citizens. But they ain't going to do shit. But they'll assemble a task force to go and search a guy's house to capture a squirrel and a raccoon that maybe could possibly spread rabies if the situation was perfect, even though the guy's had the squirrel for 7 years. So it really shows what the policies are of the state. It shows that they have the capability to protect us from quote-unquote dangerous animals, but they're going to protect us from this guy that has an Instagram account and his his big bad squirrel. Meanwhile, a pack of stray dogs in the street. And if you're not initiated to what I'm talking about with the packs of stray dogs and all the dogs being brought into the state and hoarded and stuff, look in the description. I'll put the links. it's a lot of these cases, the people, they're part of a dog rescue organization, so they foster a dog. And then they foster a couple more dogs because it's a tax write-off. But then they end up in a hoarding situation where you find, the basement that had 12 dogs that were barely being fed. And some of these people are the people that are connected to the charity, the End Suffering Tax Shelter. But what they're doing is they're just hoarding dogs so that they can have a tax write-off. And then those dogs get loose or they get lost. They've never been shipped or tagged or collared, so nobody knows who they are. They're just running around the neighborhood causing problems, but nothing usually gets done about it. If somebody defends themselves against one of those stray dogs, they will go and make that person spend time in jail, or they will get that person fired from their job, but they won't do anything about the stray dog. So that's the type of stuff this squirrel story should be enlightening people about. But instead, we're just like back on the outrage wheel. It kind of sucks. In a related story, there was a woman that lost her job and went to jail because she had her little boy walk home like about a half a mile. I'll put the John Stossel story on this in the description. But she went to jail. She got charged with a felony because somebody called the police and saw her son walking home from school, and it was because she had let him out of the car before they got to the house because supposedly he was misbehaving or something. And they made a big deal about it. They made her out to be this most terrible parent, a bunch of financial charges. It really messed up her life. But if it would have been a dog attacking a kid, they just would have took the dog to the shelter, checked it for rabies, and put it back into the community. The police that arrested the mom for supposedly not taking care of her kid properly, they put her in jail. Like, how could she take care of her kid in jail? The whole premise of this was that the mom wasn't making sure the kid was safe. Well, that's partly the job of the police officers. And if the police officers can't keep us safe from stray dogs, they'll just look the other way. But if they can find a mom and quickly put her in jail for some presumably terrible thing of making her kid walk home from school, then they'll do it. But they won't hold themselves accountable. And that's another part of this whole thing where it's just it's a policy. It's politics. This whole thing is politics. They will enforce policies on you when it comes to you having a squirrel or you making your kid walk home from work, but they won't give you, the constitutional rights that you have to walk your street safely and not be attacked by dogs. And in fact, they're purposely bringing dogs into your state that attack you. So this is really all about politics and policy and what kind of actions the rule makers are ready to take.